And our first group is Pistol and Hawk. Are you guys? Take it away, Michael, or whoever is presenting from Pistol and Hawk.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Yes. Perfect. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so my team and I, we decided to do, I don't even know if you guys have seen this. Have you guys seen Miami Road Trip?
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Okay. I kind of don't like Zoom, honestly. I don't even know what you guys can see or don't see. Okay, so we did share your road trip with a Google Maps kind of thing, and we broke up in half. Like Keith and I, we were doing like the HTML and the CSS. We were doing like the structure and the styling of the web page, and the gentlemen were working on the Google Map APIs. And I'll leave that part to Scott to like go in depth a little bit about what he did. So here I decided I took it upon myself. Honestly, like I didn't know when we started it. It was very like a sketch idea, very basic, kind of like a title. And I thought like if I get to put "Hello World" and a picture of Miami, I think I'm good. That was all that, because I really didn't know. But actually, like little by little, I started like creating this full screen, like horizontal slider. And here, like we're Pistol Hawk from Promote rp18. We create a unique social media site for adventurers to share their journey. Each shopper maps their route, which is displayed using the powerful Google Maps API. You can share the different episodes of your journey. And so I even got to work with a little bit of like animation and transitions and seconds, which was very like, I did not expect it like for the project to really take that route. Like I just said, like I wanted to be very basic, and just if it gets to work, I think that's all that's important to me. So now for map, here's the part that the guys really started working on. And so yeah, so it was like this image carousel. We converted it into like the navigation system, and really wanted to like use each slide to just project the city of Miami. And yeah, so it's very straightforward, very to the point, but like I was just telling the guys, this is a project that I'm definitely like the most proud of. I took the responsibility to really like push myself and learn with the limited amount of time that I had. And for other groups that I was in, it was just that I didn't want to help. It's just that I didn't know how to. And it was very, you feel very like you just kind of like your hands are tied, and it's the most horrible feeling. But definitely I'm very, very happy, and just honestly like to just take like a few 20 seconds. Like I'm so proud that I got to do this. And honestly, I sent all my love and all the wishes to everyone. I know that we're going to go out and do amazing things. And I definitely want us to everybody to keep in touch and just help each other out, empower one another out, help each other rise. That's what we're here for anyways. And yeah, so it was a pleasure. And I'm so sad, but I'm so excited too. It's like mixed feelings. So I'll send it to Scott to talk about the APIs and what he wanted to do with what he did with Michael with the maps.
All right, cool. Let me just share my screen here. Yes, we had great dynamic. I don't remember that. I had an awful time. All right, so here we have our Google Map API, and we started and thought, how are we going to do this? The Google Map API is huge. We have to learn all this stuff, and it ended up being not so bad after all. We ended up using a cool Google Map library called Gmaps. If you guys want to check it out, it was a great way to sort of get our feet wet without having to dive too heavy into syntax. And we were able to it sort of just takes the API and boils down a lot of essential commands you want and makes it a lot easier. But yeah, we had to struggle with stuff like how do we use a list item to access user information and dynamically draw stuff on the map. But we were able to figure it out and store route information, story blurbs from the route. And Michael wrote these lovely stories here. And you're welcome to check that out on our GitHub and you can play around with it for yourself. But it's pretty cool to see it draw on the map live, and pretty proud of what we did. So yeah, any questions about that?
What was the thing that you guys found again? Is Gmap?
Yes, gmaps.js. I'll put it in Slack if you want to check it out. Anyone else?
You got to get a branch of that on GitHub Pages so we can see it in action and I'll play with it.
Right, we sort of put GitHub on the back burner and forgot about it. We're definitely going to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to move along to our next group, Column and Cape. Awesome job, Pistol and Hawk. Beautiful and cool functionality and beautiful work. That's great. Column and Cape, let's have at it.
Okay. Oh, just a second. Yes. There we are. Sharing my screen. Our project was called Grouper. As you can see, we are a startup, grouper.io. We're official. A little bit about the layout quickly. We have just a background attachment that shows people grouped together. Use some bootstrap buttons. And what our project attempted to do is to address the problem of having groups in remote prep or for dealing with people working together. And so what we were able to do is, for example, we clicked the remote prep button. So we have all the names here and their location. And we have, and here you say into how many groups of people you want to put people in. So we want people into groups of 2, for example. And we click randomize. And these are your random groups. And also you have the map view. You can show, this was just something nice we added with Google Maps. We add people into, we have their location here. So we just show them, you can scroll over and you can see other names like Nicholas, Sarah, or myself. I'm right here, yeah. A couple issues we ran into. This app does not check if you have worked with someone already. And also, the Google Maps API is a little funky in that it only shows a certain amount of people, but if I keep clicking randomize, more people show up now. So those are just a couple things to deal with going forward. Otherwise, we feel we did pretty well with this. And I'm going to, Kevin, you worked extensively with the Google Maps. So
yeah, on the functions.
Yeah, I'm going to leave this to you.
Yeah, so it's something to do with, it's only prints 11, so it's either something to do with our array or once it gets to a certain point, kind of messes up. But some of the challenges was with, actually got a lot of good function practice in because geocoding, which is like turning the names of the city into like actual latitude, longitude, it was kind of difficult because you couldn't really return the data, so I had to pass into another function. So that ended up working though, so that was pretty nice. And that was just to get like the names on the hover over. And Bootstrap with Google Maps is kind of weird. And sadly, yeah, we were trying really hard to get the randomizer to work with to not pair people together, but that seemed like, Nissa, when you were saying to cut down the scope, that was definitely part of that because that got really, even thinking about it, it's pretty hard problem actually to do that. So we got to this point.
I love it. I love that it's hosted at GitHub.io. I'm going to go click over there. Any other questions for Column and Cape grouper? Very cool. Awesome. Okay, our next group is going to be random rifle. Oops, there was a last minute question from Scott. Could you shed some light on the randomizer?
Yeah, let me pull up. Am I still muted? Okay.
Right. So if I can talk
Yeah, go
about
for it.
that.
Yeah, that was yours.
So the randomizer is basically we have an array of names, and first we shuffle the array, and then we ran which randomly puts names into it, and then we just pair them together from there. Anything you want to add to that, Kevin?
Yeah, so our idea going in with to not have it match with the same people was to make it an object and have it like property of who you've worked with. But yeah, that was where it got pretty difficult. So they are objects, so there's room.
Right. I have been actually, in my own time, I've been working on an algorithm to do that, and
Nice.
it's extremely ugly and messy and extremely expensive.
Raymond or Jan, did you guys want to add anything about like the layout and stuff?
Well, I didn't really mess around too much with the layout. It's just yeah, I just mess around with the CSS Bootstrap.
It's Bootstrap used mostly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our project. Thanks for watching.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. All right, Ren and Rifle, you guys ready?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I guess I'll do this one. I should check out the console. Okay, so we named our project Operation Dog Rescue Party Time. So basically, what we did, we had the Google Maps API in here, and then we put in some buttons. Are you ready to take an adventure and rescue puppies? If you say, let me think more about it, it tells us, come back when you're ready. We say, yes, let's do it. Then prompts us to type a location and click on the puppy that we want to rescue. So I'll just say like Tokyo. So search for it, and then icons, well, it's supposed to be icons, pop up on the map, and you click on one, and then in order to rescue the puppy, you have to flip a coin, see if you get heads or tails. Let's just say heads. And then looks like we got it right. And it says you guessed it right. Congratulations, you successfully rescued the puppy. And you get a drink as a reward. If we fail, it would say, oops, the puppy has been rescued by someone else.
So it's supposed to be like a social media site where everyone tries to rescue as many puppies as possible, and then whoever has the most puppies wins the game or something?
It's kind of like a game. If you guys remember the April Fools that Google Maps had last year, where everyone was like a Pokemon master, you just go around randomly wherever you want in the world, and you try and capture all the Pokemon. Like you can go anywhere, and the icons will appear anywhere that you go. Like let's say, just go to San Jose or something. Then the icons will show up on the map again. So some problems that we had, I put a canvas element over the map, but I wasn't able to figure out how to actually get it to click on the place where the pictures are themselves. And but we just made it so that you can click anywhere on the map and you should be able to rescue a puppy.
So when you click, it's not selecting it, like an individual puppy that you're clicking. Because I was going to ask if you guys had thought about maybe like having the puppy disappear once it's saved or something like that.
Yeah, I did try and do that, but the problem was that for a canvas element, you have to the images that are drawn on there aren't actually an image; they're just pixels. The canvas element takes pixels and takes colors, puts those onto the canvas. So you have to do some code where you keep track of where the mouse is and where you actually click, and you have to keep track of where the icon or the pictures were drawn and see if the click is in the same area as where the picture was drawn. So I didn't have enough time to go through that entire thing. But the nice thing is that I did make it so that the canvas would erase itself and post new pictures every single time you move to somewhere else. So like New York, like the icons will move to somewhere different. And go to like, I don't know, Tahoe. So they'll move. And the nice thing is that the API, with the Google Maps API on the Google Developer Console, they had information about making this search box and using their autocomplete and everything that Google Maps normally has.
Anything from any of your other group members? Yes. Vivian or Michael?
Yeah, so we initially we were trying to make it more complicated. We're trying to make make the player to flip a coin, and then once they guess the side right, and then they get to rescue a puppy, and then once they hit 3 times, they actually won the ultimate reward, but we couldn't get that one to work. We're trying to do a loop, but there were some bugs that we needed to fix, so we couldn't make that to work. But then instead we just gave them a reward every time they rescue a new puppy.
Sounds like that was a good pivot. Awesome. Thank you guys. Anything else for these guys?
Yeah, how did you guys do the gradient in the text? That was cool.
Vivian, you want to answer that? Because you put that in the CSS.
What was the question again? Sorry, because I wasn't looking at the screen.
The gradient in the text, like how did you transition colors like that?
Okay, I just look it up for some rainbow color CSS code.
Oh, okay.
On Slack later. It's just there's a block of code to make a whole line of text in rainbow color, and then
Okay.
actually you see that the header's color is different than the body color, and then because they actually have the same color, they have the same code, but then the result was different. The colors were different because they randomly assign different rainbow colors to different lines of strings.
Okay, thanks.
On Slack. No problem.
All right, cool. Our next group is going to be Jacket and Shoe.
Hi, sorry, can everyone hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I was just talking to myself there for a second. So I thought we'd start off by saying that we spent our first day, so we initially had wanted to ask the user what type of weather that they liked, and from that send them to a city and give a couple fun things about that city. And so we spent the first day doing that, and after we had developed some functions and calls with the Ajax, we realized at the end of the day that our arrays were coming up empty. And we saw that our API, we only had a certain amount of calls and we were using all them up. And we didn't want to spend $180 to get unlimited calls. So we kind of shifted our project after that day. So rather than asking the user what kind of weather they liked, we kind of were hoping to make a website geared towards someone who was maybe moving somewhere. So we're asking this person, where are they heading to? And we have it populate with San Francisco, but I'm going to talk about this first part right here, the background image that Rose put together. She put together an awesome randomizer, so an array of objects. And so every time you refresh the page, it's somewhere different. And she put in a bunch of cool and different and kind of interesting locations. Like you'll see that you get a guitar-shaped field here, or there's one with like, yeah, the big, I think it's in Mexico, that has the kind of the crop circles or whatever in it. And so that's the first part of our project. Now Gabe's going to kind of talk about the second part.
All right, so now it's like our project was based on the weather. So that was the first thing we did, but it ended up being like kind of a smaller part of it. But now like if you type in something like San Francisco or whatever, like in Fresco, the weather comes up, like it's hazy, this is haze, I don't know why. This is just from the open weather app thing. And then that displays like the temperature, the sunrise, sunset, and then it also, this weather column actually is like, yeah, so the weather call, like inside the weather call, we're actually calling like other functions as well, because we are using the San Francisco that we get from the weather to do other stuff, which is stuff that Sarah wants to talk about.
Wants is a stronger word than I would have used. So yeah, we added in some, it's called local-ish headlines, because it sort of works. So right now, we're getting, when you type in San Francisco or you type in whatever, you hit go and it uses Google's geocoder for the maps, and it translated into a bunch of address components, and we use those address components for the weather, and we also use them for the news because there's a webhost.io was the only one that I could find that you could use for free-ish, yeah, freemium gypsies. And it will accept like a country of origin, and it'll accept like a just query topic, it'll accept a language, that kind of thing. So if you say San Francisco, Google knows that San Francisco's in the US, so it takes that position in the array and uses that as the country to use in the news. There was a small hiccup that I had because depending on if you're in the US or somewhere else, there's different, the arrays are different sizes because like the US, you have a state, you have a county, and then you have a city. And other places, they just say like country, and then they go to city. And so that was never in the exact same place to find the country. So now it has to run a for loop to find where the type is the country, then use that as the country. That kind of thing. Oh, Beijing used to be cooler because the headlines used to be in Chinese, but it's a fluke. But there's a kind of a hiccup too, in that you have to refresh the page at the moment of the way that it's appending, but it mostly works.
Super cool. Good work. Any questions for these guys? Good work. These projects are awesome. All right, we have our last group, Lobster and Bliss.
Hey everyone. Our group was Ben, George, Jomar, Nick, and myself. I'm going to post the GitHub host of our site on Slack. So if you guys can go to that now, it may take a little bit to load. In the meantime, I'll share my screen. So this was an initial concept for our site. We wanted to do a web VR, a virtual reality website. And we wanted to, these are all hard-coded movie posters as our demo. And we wanted to have an API automatically create all of these rows for us. And so our final result, hopefully your guys' pages have loaded by now. Our final result looks like this. We end up setting up a rotational navigation here where you can actually move up to certain rows, and you can see all of these are getting dynamically created through a movie database API. And you can move in and out of this, and this is fully rotational and fully functional with a VR set. If you look at the bottom corner of the browser, you can see the little goggles. You could actually view this in using a VR set. If you open up one of the posters by clicking on it, it brings up a two-dimensional div that grabs the API's background for that movie, as well as the title, the information, the synopsis, and it goes ahead and puts a trailer in there in an iframe. So some of the challenges we faced, we had a pretty big one this morning, actually. The thing about VR is that all of these have to be loaded through all of these images, including the navigational links, have to be put in through a proxy unless they're locally hosted. So we ran into some issues. I hope all of your guys' pages are working with the proxy this morning, and how many images were running through those, and some of them went down. But if we had enough time, we could create our own proxy to run all these images through. One other, well, the whole challenge, the other thing that was really challenging is that there's not too much information about web VR. It's really about a year old, but really people have just started working on it the last 3 months or so. Just to give you guys like sort of a idea of how this is created, it's using something called iframe. So everything's wrapped in an A scene. And this is the very first web VR page that Moz VR created, creators of Firefox and original Netscape. But you can see that everything's wrapped in the A scene, and you can change the sky color, which is just going to be your whole surrounding. You can remove the plane, for instance. You can add images. For instance, we use curved images for our presentation. So yeah, that's what we've been working on. It's been very challenging, but very rewarding. It's been amazing to see this hard-coded example demo turn into this.
That is a cool website. Definitely impressive. I know you guys got to jump on it over the weekend and have been working really hard on it. And it shows. That's really cool. It's cool to dive into a brand new technology. That's amazing. Any questions for these guys, or what questions are we going to field here?
I have a question for everyone. I hope it loaded for you guys. I know some of the browsers are different because it is a new technology so Safari seems to work a little bit better than Chrome. But was it able to load up for everyone?
It loaded for me.
Oh, fantastic.
What is the NDA? Am I missing the joke?
I'm missing the joke too.
NDA is a non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was my joke the other day when Nessa said that she was going to join everyone's rooms to just check in how everyone was doing. I told her she had to sign a non-disclosure agreement before she came into our room.
Wow, cool. All your projects are awesome. And please get them up on the GitHub pages, because I only had that one project before to show you guys, and I'd love to would have more to pass on. And even from there, you guys did a great job. It's amazing to see. I hope it is to you guys too, to see what you guys have built, starting from day one back in the day when we were talking about like setting up a text editor and working together on Flubits to now where you guys just worked in groups of like 3 to 6 and collaborated, pushed your code to GitHub. Just seriously impressive. Roseanne and I are just like blown away by the work you guys have done and how far everyone has come. Any other wrap up stuff for this before we're gonna just go kind of switch gears into like kind of a Q&A and wrap up with our last chunk of time?
Can I ask Chris's group a question real quick again?
Definitely.
So I just opened it up in my web browser. Did it somehow pull like preferences from my search history or something? Because so it looked like when you opened it, it was like a bunch of dude movies. And when I opened it, it was definitely a bunch of chick movies. So I want to know if you did that on purpose.
That would be really impressive, but unfortunately, it does not do that.
That would be a great idea.
It's basically just when you make calls through Ajax, it's called asynchronous, and so it basically queries the database and pulls it in whatever order they load. And so it just so happened that yours loaded a different set of movies than ours did. But if you refreshed it again, you might get a set more similar to what we had. You also might just be in the chick flicks category, so you could just click on a different one and scroll somewhere else.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You could use the the rotational navigation to maybe go down to action if you'd like.
We included several dude-friendly categories in case you were interested.
So funny. Awesome. All right. Well, good work. Moving on to like the wrap up part of our course here with our last 30 minutes.